Johannesburg, Africa's richest city, faces a chronic shortage of affordable housing. The crisis was laid bare last year when more than 70 people were killed in a harrowing fire that engulfed a hijacked building. Stranded survivors have had little choice but to move into similar dwellings.
The problem, people are not working. The money, we can't afford these buildings. Because now when you plan something or working, it's like you are working for the buildings now. You can't eat, you can't save, you can't do nothing.
But that place where I'm staying now, it's not a good place. It's still bad, but at least there's a shelter. You see, here in Joburg, it's very difficult to find a place. There's Joshko here in Johannesburg. It's a Joburg housing company. Working, I can afford to pay that rent because if you stay in Joshko buildings, minimum rental, it's 950 rand.
More than 500 buildings have been abandoned or hijacked in the city, making easy picking for criminals preying on desperate job seekers.
I'm working around in Joburg because I'm working in those buildings. I'm assistant to fix those escalators and those lifts. I'm assistant, so I cannot stay far out of town because sometimes you see these days there's road shading all over. You need to stay closer in town. Let's take someone is stuck in the lift. You can run and help him.
The greatest need comes from people earning less than $170 a month.
The city has reinforced in some ways about its spatial architecture by putting people on the periphery of cities. This is where housing is often offered. But we've also seen an intense privatization of what is essentially public space. So nobody chooses to live in dangerous housing. But we do know that, again, to access economic opportunities, to access certain basic amenities, people have to make do with makeshift housing inside the city center.
Meanwhile, private developers say their hands are tied.
Affordable housing, it's no longer easy for us as a private investors. Why? Because the lending rate is very high. Now, as an investor, then you've got a property or a building that you still need to maintain, you still need to secure it, you still need to pay the rates.
The crisis runs deeper across South Africa. Hope brought by democracy 30 years ago has slowly faded for the urban poor. While the census shows slow strides are being made in the provisions of dwellings and basic services, nationally, 3.5 million are still on the waiting list for state housing. Beryl Oro, CGTN.